Okay, so I thought I'd give you my views and opinions on a new control system for WWE 2K20. The idea behind this change was to make the controls easier for new players to pick up a controller and get stuck into the game. Now, I didn't really have any issues with the controls that we originally had, but if this was going to make things easier, then I might just appreciate it. Now firstly, I've got to get this out the way because at the capture event I was in pretty muddy waters because not only did I have to contend with this new control system, but as well the console of choice at this event was the Xbox, and you know that I'm a PlayStation player. So I was in pretty deep at this point, and I really had to adjust to it and do it pretty quickly because we had limited time on the consoles. Now, with that in mind, I also went into this event just thinking, I know, very silly of me, but I just thought the change was that reversals had been taken out from the trigger buttons and moved to the finisher button, which was, of course, for Xbox, Y, and for PlayStation, triangle. So all your reversals would run through that new button. I thought that was it. I was wrong. Actually, there's quite a lot that's changed, and I wouldn't say that these changes are bad. They definitely aren't something to get upset about, but it does make me question the purpose because I didn't think that this made things easier. So I don't think it will make things easier for new players either. And I say that because, in all honesty, in some instances, you're having to press 2 buttons instead of 1, which you had in the previous controls. And an example of this was when you're trying to hit a signature or finisher. Now in the old control set, all you had to do, and it's very much tried and tested, was hit the top button on your control pad. So for Xbox it would have been Y, and for PlayStation it would have been triangle. Hit that and it activates finisher or signature if you've got one. Now with the new control system, you have to press 2 buttons. So I'll give you a reference for the Xbox. You have to press A and X together at the same time. Is that easier? I don't think so. It's 2 buttons instead of 1. So I'm not really buying into this whole that it needed to be changed to make things easier because people have been critical of the controls in the past. I don't think I've heard anybody criticise the old control system. I did hear in one of the interviews that was done by Denkops that they said, say for example, the reversal system, the triggers made things too slow, they weren't responsive. No, never ever experienced that. Although I would say that the new button, which is now formerly the finisher button, it worked quite well for reversals. I will admit that. It seemed fine, it didn't feel awkward, it didn't feel too difficult to adjust to. So I was fine with that. I think for me, it was really a combination of this being on the Xbox, so at times just simply not knowing which button to go for because I'm not used to the layout of an Xbox controller, and that plus I had the new control system to get used to. But you know, it was a bit frustrating because sometimes you were pressing buttons and you're pressing the old system, and I did it quite a few times, and I'm sitting there thinking, why is this not working? Come on, work. And then I'd realise, oh, well, you're pressing the wrong button. So it did kind of delay and slow me down a bit, and I think that's what it will do to you guys when you're trying to learn, is just until you've got up to speed with this control system, it might just slow you down a little bit to get used to it, and then you can get stuck into the game a bit more, which again brings me back to the point that, has this really made a big difference? Has it really benefited players for the future? I know 2K did say as part of their sort of media presentation that this is for the future. So I believe this control system is here to stay. And maybe that's why I couldn't find a way to configure back. I could not see anything in the control section where you could go in, configure and preset the controls back to what they were before. So changing, say for example, reversals back to the triggers. It wasn't there. And I would think that of all places for this to be, to make that change, would indeed be under controls. So I couldn't see it. If it's not there, where the hell is it? Because I have seen other people saying that that will be an option. Well, it weren't in that section. So yeah, if somebody asked a dev and they said it will be in the final version of the game, maybe it's going to be patched in, then you never know. We've got enough, I think, to be patched in already with the lack of Creator Championship, and plus as well, if you ask a dev, you don't always get a straight answer. Like when I asked and I found out that Creator Championship wouldn't be in, only for it to be confirmed that it's now going to be in via a patch. So you never know. It's going to be pot luck finding out what we're going to get. But in terms of the control system and people getting upset and in uproar, I just say to you guys, it takes a little bit of time. Like anything. I mean, it's even like if you put a game down for quite a while and then you pick it back up again and you have to get used to it. That's what it is. And yeah, it's a little bit frustrating that they've gone and done this, particularly when someone like me thinks, what was the purpose? But if they're going to stick with this control system for the future, I don't think it's a bad one. I just don't think it really meets the purpose of what they were pitching it as, which was to make things easier for everybody. If you're doubling up on buttons that were singular before, I don't get it. I tell you what, it's certainly not like when I think EA made a switch in Knockout Kings to Fight Night, where they changed everything. You were using the analog stick for everything and it just was really different. It's nothing like that. So if you used to play the old boxing games, then you'd know what I'm saying. If you're not about 100 years old, then you won't. So never mind that. But overall, I don't think it is something to concern yourselves with. I think that you will get used to it in time, but it might just be a bit of a pain to start with. But in terms of giving feedback on this, has it made a huge difference? Did I find it really easy and much better than what we had before? Not particularly. Maybe I'll change my mind over time, but on initial first play, which I'm sure should be when you think to yourself, oh, this is lovely, this is much easier, I like this. That should be the feeling if it is really significant, and it wasn't. So that's my views and opinions on the control system. If other people are saying that you can change this control system, maybe they spoke to the devs, and maybe it's going to be added in, you know, the version that gets released. I don't know how far this version was to completion, this dev version that we played at the media event, but maybe it's going to be dropped in for the final release that you can switch back. But if 2K wanted to push this control system, then they're not going to put that in, are they? Because they want us to learn this and this be the foundation to go forward with. So yeah, and also as well, if you were told by a dev, it's not always technically, you know, you're not going to get the facts, because we asked about Creator Championship, we were told it was not going to be in, and the US were told something else, and then boom, it's going to get patched in, and yeah, the less we say about that, the better. I'm glad it's in, but it's always nice to get, if you ask a question, a straight answer. I will say that. But anyway, you know, let me know what you think. Let me hear from you guys. Are you worried about this control system? Hopefully I have pretty much, you know, helped you with that thought process. If you have been thinking, oh no, I can't learn a new control system, it ain't that much of a biggie. And if people are overselling it, that it's like terrible, don't worry about it. You'll get used to it, I'm sure of it. And if people are saying it's the best thing since sliced bread, it's really not. It's not that big a deal. It's not a big change. So, you know, gotta put it out there. But anyway, let me know if you've got any questions. I'll be happy to answer them. Like I said, my idea behind this video was definitely to try and appease you guys, to let you know that I didn't think it was that big a deal. And if I can get used to the new control system, then you guys certainly can. But it's just a bit fiddly, and that's about it. But any questions, happy to answer. I will be checking the comments. It'd be great to hear from you, and we will talk more about WWE 2K20 and the version that I played at the media event, and I'll be giving you my initial first thoughts, which I think is going to be an interesting one, because I'll definitely give you my first thoughts now, and then I think once I get my hands on the game and I get to play it a few more times, then we'll do a proper one, because I always feel like when you play it at an event, you get one feeling, and then when you've played it for a consistent amount of time, you get another one. So it's always great to revisit and see what you said initially, and then see if you still agree with yourself. Interesting that, isn't it? But yeah, we will do that as well. But for now, please rate, comment and subscribe. Plenty of 2K20 content coming your way. I captured a fair bit, and also planning for when I get the game and a bit of universe mode. Why not? But for now, I'll see you later.